Hey guys, I am back. And I wanted to go over target markets. So I know this is something that every marketer has heard 1,000 times over about their business. Who's your target market and who are you talking to? And I always start all of my seminars and my workshops off by having people clearly define who their target is. And I know it's like beating a dead horse, but no matter how many times I do it, I still have people come and say, I'm targeting everybody. And this is why that is a bad thing. You might think that by targeting everyone, you're opening up your message to the whole population, and then that means you're going to get more sales. But the problem, if I just put it plainly, is if you target everyone, no one is going to hear you. So this is kind of why that is. This is an example that I use pretty frequently. I find it makes sense to everyone. So say you're a tire shop. Your job is to flip people's tires, winter to summer, get new tires, whatever it is. There are a lot of different people that drive. So this tire shop says, I target everyone that has a car because they have tires and every car needs tires. Okay, but are all of those tires the same? And do all of those drivers want the same experience? So me, for example, I drive an older Cadillac. I don't race it. I don't need all of this flashy, expensive, whatever. I usually just go in, I say, what's your cheapest? Put it on, let's hit the road again. So that tire shop for me is someone, they're targeting someone who is looking for price and they're looking for speed. And more or less it's price over experience. So I go in and they give me cheap tires. I can't make an appointment. It's kind of first come, first serve. And they flip my tires. I wait around on the sidewalk. There isn't really a nice waiting room or anything. I just sit on my phone, usually on a curb, and wait. And that's fine with me because I'm only paying a certain amount of money for these tires. I don't need something fancy. That tire shop, to talk to me, would put out messaging saying that they are an inexpensive tire shop. For someone that has a newer car, they're kind of, those people that their car is their baby, they probably have a high-end sports car, they need fancier tires. They don't want to just show up when they can, wait in line, not have an experience, and get cheap tires, right? Like, first of all, they need really high-end tires for the most part. They're probably driving faster, tight corners, whatever. They need quality tires, more so than I would. And they're looking for the experience, right? So when they go for their tires, they want to show up at a specific appointment time. They don't want to wait around for it, so they show up at their time. And once they do that, they don't want to sit on a curb on their phone. They want to have a lounge chair, a lazy boy, that they can stare out big glass windows and watch the work get done. And they also have Wi-Fi, and there's probably a free latte. So they're willing to spend more money for the experience of flipping their tires over because they just care a lot more about that. So if those two companies, they don't offer the same thing, and therefore they can't talk to everyone. The people that are selling the cheap tires are not, by saying we are cheap tires, they're not talking to those higher end car people, even though they have cars and they need tires. The people that are higher end, that are saying, come in for a free latte and Wi-Fi and watch your tires get flipped by our professionals and whatever, it's this much money more than the cheap ones. Well, I don't care. I don't need a latte. I'll go to Tim Hortons on my way and pick up a tea, right? So if those people tried to talk to everyone, it would be somewhere in the middle, and then no one's listening because I'm not hearing that inexpensive tire thing, and these people aren't hearing that experience, high quality, whatever it is, right? And then no one is having their needs met. There are going to be a few people in the middle that will pick up on what your messaging is once in a while, but you're not talking directly to anyone, and therefore you're talking to nobody. It's sort of like if a company is, they're talking here and they're talking here, but they're not talking at you, so you don't really need to listen. And that's sort of all marketing, right? When you say everybody, no matter what you offer, you cannot offer something for everybody. There's no possible way. So you have to choose who your market is. You have to clearly define who you want to be talking to so that you're going to get those people to actually listen, like those tire guys. So the low-end tire guys will put out discounts and coupons and sales about, or sales pitches about how it's cheap and quick and no appointment necessary, drop in, cheapest tires, still high quality safety, whatever, right? And then those high-end guys are going to be probably, you know, they might even be on different mediums. So instead of Facebook banners, they're going to be magazines or banners across business websites, right? So that placement also matters. But the high-end place is going to be talking about, come in, there's Wi-Fi, you get a free latte, watch our experts change your tires, and whatever it is. Those two messages are completely different, and you would only get to those if other people, if you weren't talking to everybody. So if you had an idea of exactly who you are talking to. So I always say, define who your target is before you go into anything, because it changes everything. Like I said, not only what your messaging is, but where you're putting it, where these people are. If you want to talk to someone, at the beginning of all of my seminars, we define who that person is, who is your target market. And I say person because I mean one single individual. When you are writing copywriting content, creating ads, it's your message is stronger and it has more impact if you're talking to one person individually. So for example, the example I use is my target. Her name is Suzanne. She has 3 kids. She's a small business owner. She has about 4 or 5 staff that work for her at an office. Her husband is an architect. He travels. They travel as a family a lot. She has a degree in business and a minor in psychology, and she makes X amount of dollars a year. Her kids are in soccer practice, and volleyball, and they live in a single duplex, or a single family home bungalow in Marteloup, right? Why these little details matter? I mean, they're all interchangeable. It could be Edgemont instead of Marteloup, or Lakeview, or Shaughnessy, right? But if I have one person in my mind that I'm thinking of, whenever I'm writing out a message or sending out content, I'm thinking of that one person. So it's like a two-way communication. My message is going to be stronger when I'm talking to somebody as opposed to at people. And that's why I always say to narrow it down to one single person. And of course that person just represents your target as a whole. I mean, I don't only target people named Suzanne, right? Like, not a very good business plan. But Suzanne is sort of a representation of all these other thousands of people that fall within that. And by talking to Suzanne, I am also talking to Betty and Joe and Sarah. Good name. Again, it really just strengthens the message you're having. So when you are targeting somebody, you are targeting somebody, and you're telling them why your business matters to them and why that's going to be different than how you're going to talk to this other person. A lot of people ask me, well, I have a few different targets, like especially photographers, right? They do business headshots, but then they also do weddings and what have you. And come up with a couple different targets. That's perfectly fine. Pick that one person that you're going to talk to for weddings. Her name is Jessica, and she's engaged. They're looking at mountain weddings. She likes the color purple. They have 2 dogs, no kids. They have X amount of money. So that is one person that you're talking to, and she represents all of those brides that you want to target. She has totally different needs as a $30,000 wedding person than someone who has a $200,000 budget. And by talking to them individually, you're going to have a stronger message that has a higher return, because those people feel like you offer exactly what they need. So if you start talking to this $30,000 budget about a custom monogram floor and the Banff Springs Cascade Ballroom and all these really high-end wedding ideas, well, you're not talking to them anymore. You've lost them. And same vice versa. If you start talking to that $200,000 wedding person about DIY napkin holders, right? She's like, no, I'm paying you for that. Why are you talking to me about DIY? You're clearly not within the brand that I'm looking for. So you're actually damaging your reputation by not kind of picking the target that you want to be with and being a go-to for them. Again, so photographers, the weddings, and then you want to have someone that represents the business. It could be female or male. But again, just pick one so that you're talking to them. Just don't make it really gender specific. So Joe, married, 3 kids. We'll say it's a girl for now. And she's an engineer, and she has a dog and a cat, and her and her husband travel every few months, and she works very long hours. She has a stay-at-home office, but she also goes downtown every day. And you have an idea of who she is as a business person. So now when you're talking about doing headshots for professionals, you're talking to someone specifically. So now you have these two women, totally different markets, same service you're offering, photography. I mean, obviously not same service, but same business. And now, where do you talk to these people? Well, they're going to be totally different, and that's why it matters to have different targets. So talking to the bride on Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook, right? That's where brides are, looking for ideas and getting networking and trying to find information. The business side, I mean, you want to be on LinkedIn, a little bit on Facebook. Maybe you want to put a banner ad on a business magazine website, right? So you want to talk to these people in different areas. So if you're having different markets, that's fine, but they're not all going to be on the same place, which is why it matters to differentiate your message a little bit. What's another example? Yeah, I mean, whenever I say this, pick one person, a lot of people they either don't define it. They say, okay, I'll pick my target, my one person. Between 20 to 30, male or female, can be business. No. I mean, yes, that is the people you're going after. I'm glad that you have that sort of defined as a section that's not just everybody. But for the purpose of talking to people and having a really strong message that people are going to hear and respond to, pick one individual person, like you're talking to me, right? One-on-one. It's just going to turn your ROI, your return on that time that you've invested, exponentially, because more people are going to hear it. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about for target market. Again, I can't tell you how many times people come up to me, who's your target? Everybody. Everyone needs tires, and everybody needs pants. Yeah, everyone needs pants, but not everyone needs $300 pants, or not everybody wants Walmart pants, right? Decide who you're talking to, and then target your brand towards them so that you don't just look like this generic who cares. You want to be able to build up a brand loyalty, and those people that are loyal to you are going to be the ones that you're really talking to. So that's my advice for today. What does that have to do with marketing, social media, everything? You cannot start doing content creation. You can't have a strategy that's going to be successful if you don't have a very defined, clear target or number of targets that you're talking to directly and individually. So sit down with a pen and paper. I always say draw it. It just helps, even if it's a stick person with kind of long, awkward hair and the little skirt square or triangle. Draw out who your target is, or the multiple ones. Give her a name, him or her a name. Give them, if they're married, if they have kids, what their degree is, what their income is. Do they like to online shop? Do they like to go into stores? What do they do for fun? Do they go out for wine and cheese with their friends every Friday? Do they save up all their money and travel one big trip once a year? What sports does she play or he play? Are there kids in sports? Do they have pets? Have an idea of exactly who this person is, and then you can build on that. Make it your ideal customer so that you're also setting goals for yourself, right? Income does matter for most companies. Gender doesn't matter, but for communication-wise, it probably does. Sometimes gender really does matter if you're selling female clothes, right? So narrow that down, write it down, put it in your business plan book, and really define who it is. Once you've done that, then you can say, okay, this lady represents who. and that's where you do the 20 to 30 year old, you know, female or male, this income to this income, like where you start getting the more broad idea of who your target is. But I really want you to talk to one person when you're doing marketing, or no one's going to hear you. Because how many, I mean, scroll through Facebook right now, how many things do you see that you just scroll past because it's not immediately relevant to you? And that's why you want to make it immediately relevant to those people. So I hope that was helpful. That is this week's homework. Write down exactly who your target is. Name them, everything. You can name their dog if you want, if you think it'll help. It really will help if you sell doggy treats. And then branch off of that by coming up with a defined market. If you have multiple, then do that separately. And then start thinking about where you're going to talk to that person and what kind of language you would want to use with those people. I'll probably do another, I don't like setting times because I'm terrible at schedules. Do as I say, not as I do. But I'll do another one kind of about how they all relate onto which platforms. Otherwise, my ebook on my website actually goes into it pretty in depth. I go over all the different platforms and who is on those platforms and how you would use them for business. So that would be the next step when you want to really start deciding where you need to be. Maybe what you're doing is not effective, or maybe you're just getting started now. And again, I'll do another plug. My website, my workshop is coming up on June 7th. And I want everyone to have a clear target by then if you're going to be coming. We can work on it a little bit while we're there, but it's more about how to create that content and what that messaging sounds like to that target. And we're, building up a whole month's worth of content calendar. So you have the process, how to make an image and how to find the right hashtags and where to post and how to schedule and come up with a really easy way so that social media is just not so daunting. So that's it. Check it out. Write down your person. Write down who they represent. Start thinking about what you would kind of say to them. And then when you're ready, you can go grab the ebook and start working your way through and see why exactly they should be on which platforms. And thanks for tuning in. Bye!